Alright, so you might be wondering, your favorite villain, Splash, why are you doing Trigon versus Pennywise? That makes no sense. First of all, yes, it does. The correlation we have here is that both of these beings are cosmic entities, cosmic horrors that happen to like to take L's and job to children for different reasons. But they both take L's to children, yet they are both insanely powerful in their true forms. So, today, initially I was going to do Pennywise versus Chaos King. I thought that was a crazy good matchup, but my lawyer GB actually pointed out the thing they have in common with losing the kid. So we're going to do these two in a battle today. If you like content like this, if you want to see more Stephen King lore videos, including some of his crazy characters, let me know in the comments section. And if you have not subscribed, make sure to do that. And with that being said, I'm going to talk about Trigon first, and I hope you enjoy. So let's begin. Now, when talking about Trigon, we got to understand kind of what he is, what he serves a purpose of. Essentially, he's a demon king, very high up too. Like, if you're a Marvel fan, he would be kind of like their Sidorak, how he's so high up among the Hell Lords, but he's not the true top dog among Hell Lords, but he is very respectable. And we even see in the older Swamp Thing run that Spectre and Trigon are actually considered relative in tiering. This threat seemed to be implied to also be above even the combined efforts of the Justice League, and we all know Superman's omnipotent, so that's crazy. Trigon has also shown he is capable of utilizing enough power to completely tear through dimensional walls in order to come to the main reality. This is bare minimum infinite dimensional walls he has to tear through, at least in my opinion. So even casually when he's not jobbing, he's ripping through hyperversal constructs like it's nothing. In the Injustice comics, we see that Trigon is able to go toe-to-toe in raw power with Mixie. This is relevant because there should be only one Trigon and one Mixie, and this is canon. Mixie, for scaling purposes, can casually erase multiverses and should be outer without much effort. Fifth Dimension in DC is not a spatial reference, it is actually a reference to imagination. Imagination is abstract, it's not spatial. Death isn't even a concept in the fifth dimension. Lobo actually had to introduce that concept to them in death metal. Members of the JLA and Raven herself, and some of the Titans, I think, were really essentially helpless when Trigon was able to access the dimension and was plotting on coming to the dimension. All of them got knocked out by Trigon casually, who was not even in that dimension at the time. So he KO'd them from a completely different dimension. Trigon is consistently portrayed as a natural dominating force in DC Comics. Trigon constantly is stated to casually conquer alternate universes to the main line. See, in this run, he's kind of portrayed in a similar light to how Darkseid functions. He just conquers, he just takes stuff over. Trigon is also historically depicted as literally coming out of the womb ready to fight. By 30, he ruled and had complete domain over his entire dimension. According to the DC site itself, Trigon is the literal manifestation and embodiment of evil. The wording and the explanation of his existence makes it seem like Trigon is a fundamental conceptual force. Raven, who is battling to avoid being possessed, states the possession was occurring because Trigon wanted to have his full power back. She states Trigon at full power is infinite compared to before. At one point in his trophy room, Trigon had the helmet of Naboo. Assuming this came through typical conquest, which includes violence and dominance, it's fair to assume that it's most likely Trigon destroyed Naboo, amped Dr. Fate easily. Not surprised either because Dr. Fate's a jobber. Trigon and Azarath are at one point depicted to be beyond even what is between worlds and between dimensions. This should give confidence to those who are not quite sure of his outerversal roots because he's literally beyond all the universes and everything that connects them. While this feat is wanked, Trigon was not intimidated by Phantom Stranger appearing to him on behalf of the Presence. To be fair, though, if Phantom Stranger pulled up on me and he's the one that's supposed to like present something to me and trash talk back if something's going on, I'd be pretty confident too. So I don't know how serious you should take that. Trigon has shown he can eradicate beings of similar status as him, given that he slaughtered the Divine, who had claimed were his mothers and fathers. Trigon has been referred to as a pan-dimensional Hellord, which I find to be a great way to summarize and wrap up what he truly is. Pan-dimensional means across every aspect of reality. This makes sense as Trigon is only one form, one version of himself everywhere. So, we've covered Trigon, the one that takes L's to kids in the form of Teen Titans and his daughters, but he also is very strong when he's not jobbing to little kids. So, we have to talk about the other jobber to little kids, Pennywise, made most famous for the movies, especially the most recent one. It's one of the most grossing horror movies ever, and he is the scary clown in the movie that shapeshifts to scare children, but in the novels, it is excellently explained how he is much more, which is what we're going to get into. Now, in the 7th novel of the Dark Towers, in the writer's notes, it's actually stated by Stephen himself that he considers Pennywise the worst monster in the verse. Now, this statement mostly will be important when I make big videos on the Stephen King multiverse. If y'all want that, definitely let me know. But his status in the verse is insanely high. His origins are basically, he was one of the 2 first beings that existed, him and his brother Maturin the turtle, who also bears creation on his back. And for clarification, it is established in the novel that Pennywise, the true form of Pennywise, is outside of the macroverse. This macroverse contains Maturin, who holds creation on his back. It's like so detailed to the point that they say just one universe that we would consider infinite is actually the equivalent of like an atom on a blade of grass, and the multiverse is like that blade of grass, and then the yard is all the other stuff, and then there's things beyond. Like, that's how they view it. It's so much higher than dimensions. It gets crazy. Penny is also explained to be a lot weaker when he's forced to come inside of creation. This is because he is actually taking a form bound by natural laws, aka time, space, dimension, and the concepts within them. It is actually believed he ran and powered creation after Maturin coughed it up. So Pennywise, when creation came about in the form of Maturin coughing it up, he actually believed Maturin either died or was an idiot. And so Pennywise figured he was passively powering all of creation this whole time, which is insane. He was like, I thought I was the one powering creation. So that's just a wild thing. And like I said, creation itself is a bellyache to Maturin, who is Pennywise's brother. Maturin is referred to as the one who watches. Penny is the one who eats. Both serve the purpose of their author, the other one. This higher power is in a higher void than Pennywise and Maturin. Pennywise didn't even know of him until he started having his cosmic battle with the children, and he was like, there might be a power above even myself. By the way, if you guys can't tell, for Penny, you're seeing a lot of book scans because I literally want you guys to see what I'm pulling from so you understand what I'm talking about, because I'm not getting this stuff from the movies. It, or Pennywise, is strongest when in his formless, primal, destructive light state. When he takes form, he isn't who he really is. Being bounded only applies to Pennywise in his verse when the other gets involved. Besides the bounding aspect, I would say weakening for Pennywise usually comes when he's in this state of being in creation, because Penny's violating his natural purpose. He's supposed to be outside of creation consuming stuff. He's not supposed to be inside of it. He's not supposed to be bounded. Even early on, Beverly was vaguely able to understand that Pennywise himself existed just on a completely different level. She compared his eyes to the infinite itself. It consumes those on Earth because not only is he consuming them, he's consuming what they imagine, imagination itself. The quote endless gulfs of imagination is delicious for a being like Pennywise to consume. So he's literally consuming our endless nightmares and imaginations when he consumes us. Pennywise is so far removed from existence that coming to existence was literally a rough and dangerous experience for him, because the concepts of emotions was roughly introduced to him. When Billy briefly is exposed to what the true form of it really is, he sees that it is indeed a shape beyond shape. Its existence is in an endless light. This light, Bill explains, is a mockery to the idea of life itself. This is the real form of it. True form Pennywise is once more called an endless, formless being of consumption. He resides in a void outside of the macroverse, and there are no rules. It's basically, at this point when you get into the cosmology, all about abstract imagination and willpower. He also has outerversal BFR, as he can pull kids into his realm and beyond the macroverse. Pennywise resides beyond nothing. Nothing and nothingness itself resides on the outside of creation. After you break through and find yourself in nothing, and then you break through nothing itself, you may now be able to possibly find it in his own realm. Bill essentially calls upon the raw ideas he believes in, like the Tooth Fairy or police saving him. It's hope and love and the idea of something better than a concept like it existing. Love and hope in a similar sense to how you would look at the concept of Superman. This abstract power was needed to even harm Trueform Penny. He is also referred to as an eternal discorporate being. This means eternal and shapeless, just confirm he's not bound. Pennywise calls his realm, his void, his own eternity. He also views creation and everything involved kind of like a game, a board game like chess. He also says you have to make it past this to even run into him, so he massively transcends the outside and creation, and this is obviously at this point not a wild claim to make at all. Even Matern confirms Penny only got hurt in the conceptual battle he waged because he was in shock from the introduction of emotions and concepts. Penny, also in his second battle on a cosmic level, also got a surprise because he was attacked from someone else. They somewhat understood the kids, Maturin and the outside, but the idea of Penny being on the quote edge of everything, Richie was unable to process. His mind literally had to make stuff up to do its best to help him conceive of what he was seeing. Penny also made them realize creation being real is a relative term. To beings like Pennywise, it's just a canvas. Yes, he does get folded by children in their imaginations, but it's explained that in this verse, the imagination of children's is insanely stronger than regular imagination because it comes with ignorance and idealism. Like, they believe in things like step on your crack, break your mama's back, Santa being like stuff like that. Everything they believe in gives them more power. They literally believe more, and that's why they are much more dangerous to something like Pennywise. Now, if these cosmic horrors were to clash, who do I think would win? Well, first of all, I didn't know Pennywise was as strong until I read into the verse. And I'm going to finish the Dark Tower series and all that. But he is so much stronger than I thought he was. It's sort of like the revelation I had when I first looked up Trigon. I didn't know Trigon was that strong. Both are incredibly strong, but what I found myself asking was, what kind of is their weaknesses? Trigon can just, he's shown he could just be beat by someone stronger. Pennywise has shown basically hope. The concept of hope and love is the only thing shown to harm him. So you got to ask yourself, is Trigon going to rely on hope and love to beat somebody? Hell no. I don't see that happening. And because of that, I do believe the level of transcendences in King's verse at least puts him on the level of Trigon, if not above. But besides that, Penny's only going to get stronger. And Penny, in his true form, really was only ever hurt by ideas of love and hope. And those were amped ideas of love and hope too. So I don't see Trigon really having an answer. And in a slugfest, I feel like Pennywise is going to outlast him, if not outright be stronger than him. And as a result, I have true form Pennywise winning. Anyways, guys, if you want to see more Stephen King type stuff, cosmic horrors, anything like that, definitely let me know in the comment section. Let me know if you didn't know he was this strong. The Stephen King verse is a lot stronger than I thought, and it's going to be fun to cover. With that being said, it's been your favorite villain, and I will see y'all later. Peace.